I remember having a realization that you're not invincible.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be irresponsible anymore. I'm not Superman, you know?
Right.
I don't know what time frame a young man has that in his life, but I remember thinking, this is real. Like,
Right.
my friend just died. My other friend is paralyzed.
Becoming paralyzed is many people's worst nightmare, but to me, it's my reality. I'm Cruz, and today, I'm bringing you into my world. Let's hope you can get some perspective, and let's have a chat.
Hey guys, welcome back to this week's episode of Paralyze This. My name is Cruz Bogle. I'm your wheelchair-bound quadriplegic host, and the point of this show is to try and change your perspective on just about everything in your life. Today, I have a very special guest. His name is Joey Calogero. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing.
Doing? We got you strapped in this chair at your shins, your knees, your chest, and your arms, so you're not going anywhere.
No, I know. I feel that.
I can feel it. Good. So Joey is actually the nice young man who pulled me out of the water and saved my life when I broke my neck 11 years ago.
The nice young man. Do you really mean that?
The nice young man, I do. I swear. And luckily, that's awesome that you brought this skim board. This is actually the skim board that we were using when I had my accident. So that's an old memory. I haven't seen it in a while. So that may be the new prop that Joey just blessed the Paralyze This show with. Yeah, pretty cool, man.
That's the one.
I'm glad that you brought it. That's awesome.
It was just in the garage or the shed, and I thought about giving it to you, but I didn't know how you would take it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you would want to do with it. Do you want to run it over, burn it,
No,
or if you want to remember and?
Yeah, I think it's cool just looking at it. Just, I don't know, it makes me think about it differently because I always just talked about, skimboarding accident, but like actually seeing it and being like, wow, that's what I fell off of that. I broke my neck and that changed my life.
That's the tool there.
Yep. Crazy. Like, I know, from my perspective, I don't think you and I have actually ever like sat down and talked about like what happened that day.
Sensitive subject.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But like, can you tell me your recollection of like what happened in that day, kind of?
The biggest part that stands out to me, or what stands out to me the most was I remember seeing you at Gene's funeral,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought you had grown like 6 inches taller since the last time. I remember thinking, damn, Cruz is tall. But so we went to the beach. We were skimboarding, just messing around. And I remember you laying in the water, and I remember laughing, like, thought you just were messing around, just holding your breath or whatever. I just remember laughing, like, get up, what are you doing, or whatever.
Right.
I remember a wave flipped you over when you had eventually got to shore or closer to shore, and I saw immediately that your eyes were like super bloodshot red. And something is not, that's kind of what signaled me that something isn't right.
Yeah.
I saw you trying to gasp for air as the water was like washing over your face. After that, I just remember being in a very helpless.
Yeah.
Like, everybody was just in a panic. What do we do?
Right.
Has anybody ever experienced something like this? Like, what do you?
We were young.
Yeah.
We were young.
You were 19, 18,
Yeah,
19?
just turned 19. So you were what, 18?
I was 2 days behind you.
Well,
1 year. Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah, that's wild.
I remember Julian, or it was somebody, I don't remember who, ran to the nearest lifeguard. We were at Hammock. Somebody ran to the lifeguard. He came over and he was in shock. Like, I don't know if he had ever seen anything.
It was a far distance to the lifeguard too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Boynton Beach Fire Rescue showed up, and it was finally like, okay, somebody's here.
Right. Knows what they're doing. Hopefully.
Somebody can hopefully remedy this insanity.
Yeah. I vaguely remember like you actually, I don't remember like looking up and seeing you pulling me up, but I remember like, maybe it's just from talking about it, but I remember you pulling me up the beach, and I remember lying on the beach and seeing Alex Proenza standing above me, and I just remember like the look on his face was like terrified and like just like so scared, and I remember saying, I don't want to be paralyzed, I don't want to be paralyzed, and I think I said it twice, and just like he's just standing there like you said, like helpless, like I don't know what the hell to do, like what do I do? And then I remember being on the stretcher going down through that path down back to the street, and being in the ambulance talking to the paramedics and like asking them like, am I gonna be paralyzed? I was a little more calm then. I don't know if they gave me something to like calm me down or whatever, but yeah. And then I remember being on the stretcher rolling in the sliding doors at the ER, and I think I saw my dad, like he like looked over at me and like touched my arm or something. And then the rest, the next 2 weeks was quite a blur.
It happened so quick.
Yeah.
It happened really quick.
It's wild. But so like you said, you don't really remember too much after that moment, but
I remember you saying that you had like a burning in your chest.
Yeah.
You remember that? Now that we're talking about it, it's coming back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I remember being hopeful, because I think that's what we were all thinking, like spinal cord something. And I remember thinking, you having a burning in your chest, that means you're feeling something in your chest. That could be good.
Right.
I mean, we had no clue what, it was just...
Yeah, I still don't know like why that happened or what exactly that was, but I think that was around the same time I was looking up and seeing Alex. I remember I just had this burning, this like pressure. It was like almost like somebody had their knee like in my chest. That was weird. But like the next like day or so, like what did it feel like? Like what were you experiencing? Do you remember?
I remember having a realization that you're not invincible.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be irresponsible anymore. I'm not Superman,
Right.
I don't know what time frame a young man has that in his life, but I remember thinking, this is real. Like,
Right.
my friend just died. My other friend is paralyzed. It was an insane week, just up and down emotions, It was,
Yeah. That was honestly for me, like, because Gene had passed 3 days prior to that?
Yeah.
I think. So that was obviously like the biggest thing in our life. And then when this happened to me, like I sometimes I'll think about it and it's like, it's almost, I don't want to use the word like erased, but like Gene's kind of passing just kind of got left in like the dust for me a little bit.
well, I can
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean,
But yeah, that was definitely a hell of a week. I can't imagine obviously for me it was a wild week, but like, for my friends and loved ones and people who knew Gene as well, like back to back, it was wild. Life, man.
that was a year. I remember I was telling my parents I wanted to paint my room for a long time.
Yeah.
And after all this happened, they ended up painting my room for me. I
Really?
remember I walked in and I started crying, dude.
Really?
I was bawling. Yeah.
Like when, like a couple days after? Or?
No, as soon as I walked into my room and I saw that they had painted my room for me, just to kind of like cheer me up.
Yeah. Lost it?
Dude, ton of bricks.
Damn.
Yeah.
Were people like reaching out to you? Like, did people know that you were there when it happened and reaching out to like find out what happened or?
I honestly don't remember. I don't
No.
think so. There was a handful of people there too.
Yeah.
There was like a dozen people?
I think even less, probably like 8. I just remember me, you, Alex, Julian, and then I think there was like an equal amount of girls there maybe.
Yeah, just friends of friends. Everybody knew Gene.
Yeah. Yeah. That was it's crazy thinking back to that. That was almost 11 years ago, man.
Wild, right?
Yeah. Does it feel like 11 to you?
On the way over here, I thought about how long I've been working with the fire department, because I thought about why I joined, why it was that experience that made me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you that. Was it?
The fire department showing up, thankfully somebody's here finally.
Yeah.
Somebody who can help.
Yeah.
That helpless feeling is such a weird. In that amount of, I don't know how to explain it. It's
Yeah.
just one of those where you can't do anything to better or worse. It just was one of those weird situations where you don't know what to do, and you think that somebody's life might be potentially
in the balance.
Yeah. So when they showed up, I remember feeling like, thankfully somebody's here. So realizing that it was I can do that.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I want to be that sense of relief for somebody, hopefully in a 30-year career.
Yeah.
At least one time to help somebody.
For sure.
But I remember Boynton Beach Fire Rescue showed up, and ironically, doing my clinicals, I was working with some of the crew. I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
The same crew that showed up.
Yeah.
Wild.
That's crazy. How many years later?
I've been doing it 7 years now with that's what I was thinking about. It's been so long working with Maitland, and now I've got the chance to come home with Del Rey.
Yeah.
It was sometime in that school when I was in school. So it was 2 or 3 years after your accident that I was in school.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Do you remember what they had to say about it?
I remember one guy who when he was describing it, he was definitely there. You could tell. He just knew a lot about that day.
Really?
And he says he doesn't let his kids skimboard.
Yeah.
He remembers it, and he was kind of blown away that I was there too, and it was kind of like a small world type feeling. Just.
Is that like how common is a SCI call? Have you been on another spinal cord injury call?
I try to forget any really bad calls. I just try to forget them. We remember what you learned from them, but I try to forget the details.
Right.
I can't remember any spinal cord injuries that were as significant as yours.
Yeah.
But from what I remember you telling me when you went up to Shepherd's, it's not that uncommon.
No.
Didn't you say that out of 20, 10 had been skimboard injuries or something along those lines? I remember you saying it was surprising.
Yeah, there were, I think within 6 months of my injury, I can't remember if they all went to Shepherd or if it was just like in Florida. But within the 6 months of like after my injury and after or before, there were like 5 or 6 other skimboarding accidents. I don't think they were severe as mine. But yeah, it's like
other shallow water like diving accidents too, right?
Yeah, a lot of water accidents. Yeah, definitely more than you would think, like you said. But it's like one of those things, it's a world that you don't really know anything about, like disability-wise in general. So once same with anything else, but once you're involved and immersed in it, it's just like, holy smokes, like I had no idea about this, or that this many happen, or you can do this, or you can't do that, or it's just a whole new world. It's wild. So you said something about like you try to forget the details of stuff. That's kind of like the short-term memory that I try to keep when it comes to like negativity. That keeps me like not getting depressed and keeping me up. The negative thing comes in my head and I just deal with it like in that moment how I need to, and then I just like shoot it out the other side and I just forget about it. Boom. Like we've moved past it. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Everybody's way of dealing with those traumatic injuries is different.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, in the field when the crew experiences that kind of traumatic incident or seeing something like that, everybody deals in their own way. Some people joke about it, some people don't talk, and then when they go home they do what they have to do. But it's definitely important. It's important.
Right.
Because you have to deal with it. You can't let it build up. I remember my chief up in Orlando, her way of describing it was your trash can gets full. You can't let your trash can get full. You got to empty it. You got to cleanse yourself essentially of those things.
Yeah.
There's physical pain and there's mental pain. And the mental pain can manifest in many different ways in somebody.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're going to do. Some people are depressed, some people get angry.
Yeah.
But dealing with it is a big issue. It's important.
Yeah.
So
100%. Have you come across anybody or worked with anybody who you thought didn't deal with it the right way, and as like
not in my time, but it's not. I mean, I guess in some cases it might be easy to recognize. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I might have experienced it and didn't know what it was.
Right.
but fortunately I don't think I've had to
See it firsthand.
experience somebody dealing with it. I mean, if I do, I hope I can recognize it and get help for them, because it's serious.
Yeah, certainly.
You gotta deal with the mental health.
Yeah, it's a big issue these days. Have you seen the movie The Joker yet?
No, but I heard it was
It's very
deep into that.
Yeah. It's like you go in like thinking the Batman and Joker, and like you're expecting this and waiting for this like superhero type, supervillain type thing to come about, but it's literally the whole movie is like just focusing on how messed up this guy is in the head with like mental illnesses and how he can't get the help that he needs, and then that just leads him further down this like rabbit hole, and then he just snaps and like he starts killing people. It's literally just like very real life stuff. You could tell that they were trying to get across like this is what's happening right now in the world, and like people literally cannot get help, and then they're just losing it, and that's when they go and they shoot up a school or kill themselves or whatever it may be. So mental health is definitely a huge thing. It always has been, but I think right now it's like very prevalent.
Yeah, and we can always be better.
Yeah.
We can always be better at those things.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think you have to swallow your pride, or however you want to put it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to break down and have somebody there to whatever you have to do, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush or hide or run from it.
Yeah. And wait until it's too late.
No, don't.
Something terrible happens. Yep. What do you think that the whole experience of like that week with Gene passing, and then me having this accident, what do you think the big picture of what you've taken from that and like learned in life, whether it's perspective or mentality, like how do you think it's really affected your life?
You realize how fortunate you are.
Mm-hmm.
And working in the fire department, I see that a lot. Like I got it made, like really do,
Right.
compared to other people and what they have to struggle with. But like I said earlier, it was a realization that I can't be doing the same stuff. It was fun, and I got away with a lot of things that could have ended badly for me and for other people.
Yeah.
We had fun. We did stupid shit.
things. Yeah.
But that was a moment like, this is taking on responsibility.
Yeah.
And can't be doing those things anymore. Think twice and not.
Right.
I'm sure you can think of many things that we did growing up, like that we could have been hurt.
Oh yeah.
And possibly other people have gotten hurt from
Yeah.
the result of our actions, and that's part of really growing up and really being responsible.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's part of growing up. Like the only way you're gonna, unfortunately, that's part of why I'm doing this show, is to try and change people's perspective, because usually it takes something terrible happening,
Unfortunately, yeah.
to like open your eyes or to learn and be like, oh snap, like that can actually happen. Like that's real. Like it's not just in the movies. You don't just hear about it. Like shit can happen to you. So yeah, it's all part of growing up. Experience teaches you a lot. And yeah, we definitely did get away with a lot of stuff, but yeah, luckily we're both still here, so that's good. We're here, so that's why we're spreading positivity. You're out here saving lives still. Do you snowboard anymore? Like after my accident,
No.
Did it scare you too much to
It did.
try?
It did, but I wasn't good in the first place. You know that. I wasn't great at it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was definitely that sport was quickly abandoned. Yeah. It's
Live and
dangerous.
learn, and yeah, it's dangerous.
And people who are doing it, I think, should understand like what can happen. And your story is the prime example of the worst that can happen.
Yeah.
If you want to partake in a sport, this is what could.
Right. Just you got to know it's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've said that a few times in a couple different interviews. Like, I'm not trying to. I want to bring awareness to stuff like this, that it's possible, but I don't want to scare people away from living their life or trying new things, or if you like doing action sports, like do it, but just know it's a possibility.
Take all the safety precautions too, man.
Yeah, that as well.
I remember we didn't wear helmets when we were skateboarding around.
Yeah.
Probably should have, but take all the safety precautions because things happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of my last questions would be, going through this injury with me and being there when it happened, and now being a firefighter and seeing all these injuries and extreme and devastating injuries and whatnot, what would be your advice to the loved one of someone who has been severely injured or disabled?
You have to be there for them, which is, like, I don't want to say, like, it's obvious, or you want to say it's a cliche. You have to be there for them, but
Right.
it's imperative that if you weren't on the level of expressing your feelings then, it's imperative that you are now.
Right.
Because you got to talk, you got to be able to vent. In your case, you had to have somebody there all the time.
Yeah, literally.
You can't get frustrated. You got to make light of the situation and make it, the best it can be.
Yeah.
But just be there. Be open-minded. Gonna be bad days. Gonna be really bad days.
Yeah.
But be the rock for that person, because you're in a better spot than they are.
Yeah, I think that's good advice.
Be the rock.
Be the rock. You hear that, people? Be the rock. If somebody needs you, be there for them. Just be there. Do you have any questions for me while we're here? No?
No, I mean, we could go back and forth, but I'm kind of ready to get out of this thing.
Yeah, how you feeling? You've been strapped in for probably like...
I feel okay. I'm really glad you got this thing, because my face is really itchy.
Yeah, that's why it's there. A lot of people don't even use it. Some people aren't even phased, but I'm glad you're feeling it a little bit.
Feeling it.
Is that it? Just itchy? Are you feeling like antsy? Are you claustrophobic at all or anything?
No, not really. I kind of want to move around. I wish this thing was
Oh yeah,
turned
like
on.
chair.
Yeah.
Next one. We'll get you in the next
Episode 2.0. Let's
yeah,
go.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, if you don't have any questions, I appreciate you coming on. It was good to have this talk with you. Like
It
we
was
said,
good.
we didn't we've never actually conversed like this about it, I don't think.
No, took too long.
Yeah, right? 11 years. Jeez. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you saving my life.
You would have done the same for me, man. I don't think it was just right. I
Yeah.
was there at the right time.
Yeah.
If it was Alex there or whoever was closest to you, it has happened that we were the ones skimboarding. And if
Right.
it was me, you would have been there.
Yeah.
You'd done the same thing.
Yeah, I would have. And also, thank you for bringing the skimboard, man. That's dope. Appreciate that. Might have you sign that before you leave.
Like I said, you can do as you wish with that thing. But
Well,
I hope it brings you some positivity if you do look at it and think what you have overcome
Yeah.
in these 11 years. A long time.
Yeah.
So,
I think I will. I think it's going to stay right there, honestly.
awesome.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. And, maybe you want to become a firefighter. Maybe you're inspired by Joey and my story. And you could be that difference for somebody else and change or save their life. That would be pretty awesome if you do. Reach out to me and let me know how you feel about the interview. And thank you again, Joey. Appreciate
Anytime,
it.
man. Anytime.
Hell yeah. Tune in next week to Paralyze This.